Today, we're talking about the difference between feeling insecurity in a relationship or if it's your intuition telling you something. If there's some deep part of yourself that's telling you that this relationship isn't right for you. Or maybe you're wondering, is my partner having an affair? Is this the right fit? Is this where I should be? Well, there are some real grounded ways to tell the difference between your heart and gut voice, the voice of your spirit, your intuition, and our own insecurities. And I'm going to teach you how to tell the difference. So before I go any further, hi, I'm Sonia. I'm a fourth generation intuitive, and I teach you how to plug back into your innate divine self, your intuition. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you're returning, welcome back. Don't forget to hit that little bell notification and subscribe because I release new videos every week. And since we're in housekeeping, definitely check out the description box below. I have all sorts of free tools and resources, including a spirit type quiz, including a free guided meditation and workbook. So definitely go check those out as support on your journey. So enough with the housekeeping. Let's get into brass tacks. Insecurity versus intuition. I hear about this all the time because I work doing readings and have been mentoring for over a decade. And what comes to mind is a client of mine that I had, a mentoring client. She had really wanted a relationship and called me and was like, I finally have a boyfriend. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited. As she's talking to me, she's telling me about him, that, he's in the Navy and he's so wonderful and he's grounded. And then she's like, and now he's moved in and I'm feeling like I kind of need my own space, but everything's good. And what I found and what I even felt vibrationally, was that she was talking herself into this relationship. What she had wanted most, a relationship, she had found, but that it wasn't necessarily the right fit. As she kept talking, I found that she was trying to convince herself and me that this was a match. Now, I'm neutral, but I could really see how we confuse our insecurities and our intuition. So, our insecurities come from a place of our woundings. These come from a belief that we are lacking of some sort, and our insecurities often lie in our ego. Our ego is the protective shell that forms around us when we are first like kids. And our ego self-separates out. And the way that our ego makes sense of the world is by stories. And the thing about the ego is the ego believes what it knows is all there is to know. And so with that, our ego doesn't look for truth. It looks for affirmation and confirmation of what it already believes. And so when we're in that place of our insecurity, it will often come back to those same stories, those same patterns that repeat. For example, with my client that I was talking about, there was a deep insecurity and a deep lack. There's a fear that this is the only relationship and I have to make it work. But we could just feel underneath that it wasn't a right fit. So she kept trying to talk herself into it. Now, when we really start to pay attention, because insecurity feels very different than intuition. Insecurity will make you feel afraid because it comes from a place of fear. It'll come from lack. It will go all or nothing. It doesn't necessarily, like I say, look for truth. It looks for confirmation. And so when we're in insecurity, we can sometimes trace. So for example, if we've had some woundings around partners who weren't faithful, our ego might tell us a story in our relationship that I'm not good enough or my partner's having an affair. Or, for example, sometimes in that same way that my partner, if I just tune out and pretend everything's fine, when in reality I can feel that something, just my gut is telling me that something's not right. Now, when we look at intuition, intuition is a very different signature than insecurity. If insecurity is rooted in fear and lack and like a place of our own self-esteem and our own self-confidence, our intuition is rooted in a deep truth. It tells the truth. And it also is the guardian of our worth and of our value. It's like the most sacred defender. It's the one that says, absolutely not, you deserve better. This isn't working. And the thing about intuition as the way that it resonates in your body is it doesn't use fear. It tells you, it resonates in your whole being as true. And really, in that same way, it comes from a place of self-love and self-worth, unlike our insecurities that come from the opposite. Now, when we are young, so often we are taught not to trust our feelings. We're told that we have to be nice, that we have to be okay, that we have to be whatever. You know, for example, I remember a friend of mine who always told me that every time that she saw her uncle, she always just got like a weird vibe. It was just a weird thing. But no matter what, you know, her family always told her that she had to be nice. And so she was taught at a very young age to not trust her intuition, to trust her feeling body. We see this all the time. We are told to look to authorities. Our parents oftentimes don't teach us how to validate our own vibes. So when we get an inkling, when we get a vibe, when we get an idea that something's off, we're often taught to dismiss it. We get disconnected from that deeper vibrational system that is speaking to you, that's telling you not only the truth, but guiding you to your highest good. Now, when we are taught that we can't trust our feelings, we confuse intuition for criticism or judgment. We confuse it for not being fair. When your intuition, it has a few different signatures. First, like I said, it's not rooted in fear. It's rooted in self-love. Two, it's consistent. And if you have a gut feeling that something's not right in your relationship, whether it's that you're not with the right partner, whether it's that somebody's cheating, whether that you are here to ask for more, whatever it is, if it's consistent and not rooted in that place that literally lights your nervous system on fire, a fight, flight, freeze, figure it out, that is your voice. That is the voice of your intuition speaking to you. You know, for example, I can think of another client that I had who was in a long-term relationship with a partner that she wasn't in love with anymore, but she really wanted a baby. So she kept talking herself into this relationship until all of a sudden she just called me feeling like everything in her life just was squeezed. And she was like, I just want a kid, but I don't know if I can make it work with my partner. And I was like, well, how long has this been going on? She was like, years. I'm like, well, that's the voice of your intuition speaking to you. I mean, you don't necessarily, having a partner is really lovely and supportive and having a child, but there is part of your body, that of yourself, that has kept you in this perpetual waiting cycle, that's telling you something, that has been consistent, that has been saying this is not the right fit. Now, whatever you decide moving forward, that is good information. Intuition also gives you free will choice, and then you get to make a grounded decision. When we're in insecurity and in fear, it, like I said, lights up our fight, flight, freeze, figure it out system. And that's where we get a little rotisserie chicken on a spit. That's where we get into overthinking. That's when we try and figure it out. That's when we try and make the shoe fit like Cinderella. So if you find yourself talking yourself into or out of a relationship, good chances are that underneath that, if you get quiet, your intuition is trying to tell you something. Now, if you're somebody who's constantly worried that your partner is cheating, maybe there is a wound underneath it around worthiness, that I'm not worthy of having a partner, that there's somebody out there who's better. That's a good one. There's a good telltale sign of our ego intellect, and that often points to some deeper inner child healing that we need. And first, we have to reparent those parts of ourselves that we're told that our feelings weren't valid. Now, not only with our feelings and emotions are different than our intuition, but our feeling body, where our feelings come into our physical bodies, are a guidance system. Your body has wisdom. So if you're with a partner and you've found that there's no more spark, but everything's good, chances are there's something in your intuition and yourself that's asking you to go deeper. Is this enough? Can I be worthy and work on my own self-love and really come from that place of loving myself and knowing and trusting that as I follow that voice, that thread, that will always lead me to my highest good. And our heads will get into, oh my goodness, well, it's dating out there is crazy, or whatever the narrative is. Pay attention. Our ego intellect tells stories that repeat over and over and over again. And often it's lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, worst case scenario. So we have to pause and ask ourselves, is that actually true? And before you get back into the whirlwind or call the girlfriend who will talk you into it or out of it, give yourself a moment and start to even journal, opening that portal. And even just paying attention to like what our fears are. A lot of times our fears can give us good insight into where our insecurities lie. And from there, we can do some deeper healing that really not only help to connect us, but help to allow us to really create the relationships that we so desire. So, like I said, insecurity, fearful, stories, what it knows is all there is to know, all or nothing, repeats itself, can often be traced back to some of our own childhood woundings. Intuition, rooted in self-love, consistent, not fearful, gives you a choice, resonates in your whole body as true, and feels good. It is connected to your self-worth. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that this helped to really be able to differentiate my anxiety, my insecurity from true intuitive guidance. So if you like this video, hit like, leave me a comment. I absolutely love to hear from you. Don't forget to hit subscribe, that little bell notification, and I will see you next week. Sending you all my love. Bye.